it's time to play. I mean, you cannot destroy anybody that has an attitude of joy and laughter and play. You can try, but it's not going to happen.
Ready, Freddie?
I'm always ready, for God's sakes.
For God's sakes.
For God's sakes. Let's get this show on the road.
Show is on the road. Hi, Liz.
Hi, Lee.
How are you today?
Yes, I'm good. Thank you. Very well.
Good. I haven't seen you all morning yet.
I know. I've been a busy woman. I've been on television,
Ooh.
and hence the red Hilliard Studio Method shirt. Live ABC News this morning talking about cardiovascular work through strength training, which just happens to be what we do right here.
Ta-da. Welcome to Cardiovascular Work with Strength Training. First of all, how did it go?
It went well.
Good.
It was really fun. I loved it.
Good.
I got to sit there for like 20 minutes while they kept, prepping me and waiting to go on. And then I had these 4 different exercises and I really thought I was going to talk more about cardio. But luckily, actually, we talked a lot about Hilliard Studio Method, and we were shooting it. You shot it for me the other day, the different exercises in here, which, if you do those 4 exercises in a row, this was funny. I was sweating.
You got to work.
My bottom off. Yeah. So
You don't have enough bottom to sweat off. But anyway, I'm glad that you got a good workout. Well, let's just get right to it.
Okay.
Let's first of all talk about what cardiovascular health is.
Okay.
What we do at Hilliard Studio Method is strength training and Pilates, and how on earth that turns into cardiovascular exercise. And then let's go over the 4 exercises that you talked about today and any other ones.
Okay.
So if someone said, what is cardiovascular health? I would think most people would kind of associate that with running fast and hard and long and dripping with sweat.
Exactly. And you couldn't be more wrong. And it's research is proving it. So I would love to just be tooting my own horn and go, come to Hilliard Studio Method for, everything under the sun. But the truth is that your heart, just like every other muscle in your body, is a muscle. You need good circulation. You need good strength. And when you're running to lose weight, there's a small thing that happens that I'm not qualified to tell you all of the different hormones that happen, but I do know that your cortisol levels, and we all know what cortisol does. It is that fight or flight hormone that causes belly fat, causes you to hold on to weight. Mm-hmm. So if we go, you know what, I'm going to go for a run because I need to lose some weight, sadly, it actually can do the opposite. Your body doesn't need you to be completely lathered into a sweat and running mile after mile after mile in order to get cardiovascular work. Now, if that makes you happy and that is,
right, and
your body can do that, go for it and be happy and continue to do it. But our bodies, very few bodies are really designed to, not everybody has long legs, short torso. There's a real body type that makes these great runners. Mm-hmm. But not all of us are that, right? So to get back to the point of strength, in here, we pick up, everything from 3 to 10 pound weights. And we do a section of 8 pound to 3 pound weights with lower body work combined. Mm-hmm. We've talked about this before. It's called compound exercises with strength training, combining core-centric work through Pilates. I honestly can't think of a better way to not only sculpt your body and look good, because I think that's part of the measure here of if you're working out, people want to look good, but for your heart to be in the type of health that it needs to be to keep you from being sick. I mean, a lot of people get sick more often than not. I would venture to say that some of that has to do with the levels of stress they put on their body, and their immune system has a hard time fighting it. Again, I'm in my 70s. I do not do what people call traditional cardiovascular work, but my cardiovascular work in this studio is that, except for the other part I do, which is walking.
Right.
And I don't want to continue to talk, except I want to talk about walking a little bit. Because
go for it.
Walking is what we are designed to do. And so when we come in this room, We put the weights in our hands or the bands or the balls or whatever that resistance training is, and we go for it. And we do it for 50 minutes of really good, strong stretch, strength, cardiovascular work. When we're not in this studio, because we don't do this every single day, I do it about 4 days a week, sometimes 5. And by the way, when I do it that 4th or 5th day, I change up my weights so that I'm not, if I'm doing overhead presses with 10 pounds on Monday, I'm doing overhead presses with 8s or 6 on Wednesday.
Sure.
So listen to your body on these things. But the walking part of our bodies that we have not talked enough about, I think, is that our bodies are designed to walk. And think about like when our ancestors, they walked to do things. Sometimes they would sprint and sometimes they would pick up heavy things. We are designed to walk. And we love our walking.
Absolutely.
And you made me get, what did we just buy recently?
We're on the trend of the weighted vest, so adding some weight to that walk. Let's go back to kind of the different traditional terms of cardio, right? So it's about doing things like if you do only have access perhaps to a treadmill or an elliptical, or that is what you love to do or running outside, then that is absolutely fine. We're not going to, put a negative spin on any exercise that gets your body moving. And we're saying it's super important to feel how that works for your body. Like you can't just hope to put your body under one high stress activity and hope that that will be the cure-all, because we do want your heart rate to come up and down and to be challenged in order to increase your endurance. But if you're just kind of beating yourself up, then that's going to have that negative cortisol effect. So adding then something exactly like Hilliard Studio Method or that strength training Pilates is that beautiful hand in hand. And we know that especially over time, low impact is the way to go. And so when we also run without training, or if it's not right for our bodies, we want to protect the knees, the ankles, the hips, the joints.
And so the injuries is another thing.
Walking is so imperative for us. And we've taken it up a notch by putting on the weighted vest. And it's fun. We look,
it is.
It's not a great look, but
it's not
important.
Look. I kind of want to circle back there. On the walking. And okay, first of all, people that are running, I'd say at least a good quarter of the population that runs at some point has injuries. That's a really good point to talk about. Why do we get injuries? Maybe because our bodies aren't designed to just run distance all the time, but some of us are. Again, I want to keep making those caveats that some people are, and they choose to do that, and they've got control over that. Here's the point. I have been in the middle of some of the hardest push-up situations in this room. And if you come to Hilliard Studio Method, you understand when we get to our plank and push-up series, which lasts anywhere from 8 to 10 minutes, it's exhausting. And it's challenging. Whether you're advanced or you're not advanced, whether you're modifying or not modifying, you will find a challenge. More than not lately, and we wear these Oura rings, and they give you some definition, they give you a signal, like when you're asleep, it's red. When you're relaxed, it's green. I have looked down at my Oura ring and it's been green. My body is working hard. Guess what's not happening in my body? I don't have cortisol levels spiking up and down. I'm not stressed out over it. Our body doesn't know the difference between, getting a bill in the mail that we can't pay or, stress is stress.
Sure.
So I'm not having that kind of stress. I'm putting the resistance on my body to improve my health. And I'm always surprised to look down. It doesn't do it every time, but I'll go, how is it that my ring says I'm relaxed? And I just did my 30th push-up.
Right. Well, no, a really important part of what we do in here specifically is sometimes I'll say we want to push to that edge, but not jump off the cliff, right? You don't want to leave with a lot of the times it's, that was hard from people who have been here a long time and are pushing themselves to do the best that they can in the workout. But I do think that especially as women with, at different ages and different body types with different hormone levels, that fluctuate daily, it's really important to give yourself the grace and the freedom to modify as needed. And that's really what we do, is say push to your edge. And we say, if you've taken the break, good for you. You've reached it. And so I just always want to reiterate that
And
part.
you can't reiterate enough the hormone part. You cannot reiterate that enough. That is, to me, especially, I know that we are a woman's workout. I know also that we have men that do it. And my ex-husband is one of them. He doesn't come in here, but he does it on, video or he streams. And good for him and good for all you guys that are doing it. As far as women go, and I've said it before, and it's written everywhere, I started this workout in the middle of menopause.
Right.
At 51 years old. And the benefits of the strength training part, honestly, if I'd isolate the one thing, the strength training part of this workout is that it really helped, along with, you all know I've done the HRT and all that.
Right.
It really balanced me out. And I would leave my own workout, whether I had taught a class or taken a class, with a sense of more balance. And that is literally, physiologically happening in your body. There is a balance taking place. There is just enough stress and resistance that your body requires for it to function healthily and correctly. And the increase in mood is not an accident. That's part of the hormonal part too.
Of course. And that's what I love. It's not one or the other. It's both and. As far as, if you're going to watch Pilates videos online of people just shaking to their core, like we are going to hit muscle fatigue, and we're also going to make you feel like you don't need to go out for a run after. Like a walk for fresh air and movement is phenomenal, but you will feel overall that fatigue beyond just like, oh, I got super shaky at the bar. So I like that combination of it as well.
And I think part of the American lifestyle, or maybe it's even other countries too, is we feel like we have to beat the hell out of ourselves every single day to say we worked out. And we simply don't, because we want to have some energy to get home and play with our kids, or to, go outside and shoot hoops with your friend, whatever. You don't have to beat yourself up every day.
I think that's a really, really important part.
And it's like people don't think they've had a workout till they've profusely sweated. And I mean,
do you want to talk about heated workouts?
And you're
for a
one
minute?
of them.
No. I'm not saying
she's not.
I didn't work out
not.
if I profusely sweat. I just profusely sweat.
She just likes, but sometimes you like to go to the hot yoga classes.
No. I only go 1 to 2 to 3 times a year when I want to move my body not outside and don't want to do our workout, which I do 6 days, 7 days a week, right? So I don't incorporate that on a weekly thing. It's just not my jam.
Right.
But I do like to do something different when really I'm just competing with myself to see how flexible and strong I am.
But let me interrupt just in case I forget. The whole heated
That's what I want you to talk about.
The whole thing about sweating and all of that, that's great. Yay. You don't have to.
It's not necessary.
Everybody is different, and you're always going, hey, you don't even sweat when you work out. I can also lift a lot heavier than you can.
You can. That is absolutely true.
So it's really not about that. You don't. Please don't make the mistake of deciding how hard your workout is by how much you've sweated. Decide how healthy your workout is by your numbers in blood pressure and weight management and circumference around your waist.
Strength.
I cannot emphasize that enough. There's your cardiovascular information right there. You know, I think it's time for people to kind of get a second thought. We've talked a lot about women getting. I think most women have gotten past the part about if I lift weights, I'll bulk up. I think we've gotten past that, but some maybe haven't. So just remember that it's not going to bulk you up unless you have the predisposition of doing that, which some do. And in that case, you modify with lighter weights and you make the movements in this class regardless, because we have a couple of clients that do.
Well, I'm just of the mindset that I feel like our bodies are sweating in order to regulate our temperature when it gets stressed out from extreme heat. I know that saunas and steams and cryo and all this alternative therapy is very trendy, and I'm sure there are benefits or wouldn't be catching on, and I don't know them all, so I'm not going to speak to them.
Well, no, I love a good steam. I love a good sauna. I'm not a big fan of cryo, but boy, all the research says, hey, that really works. But I'm like, okay, again, let's think that through. Is that not a shock to your system? I know when I jump myself into a cold thing of water, my cortisol level goes high. But I know nothing about cryo, but I do know this. I do know the body, and listen to your body. And if those kind of things help you, do them. But don't do them for any other reason than, if you've read your science and I am supposed to be doing this, go for it. There's enough stress in our heads,
right,
hearts, body, gut, in day-to-day living. Your workout needs to help you feel better.
Yep.
And if you're doing Hilliard Studio Method, you're going to look better. Just saying.
Double whammy. Okay, let's get to the exercises that you spoke about today.
Yeah.
The 4 exercises that are good examples of strength training and cardiovascular help. Number one, squats. But when we do squats in here, we add weight to it. So a squat is basically sitting in a chair without a chair. And if you can't do it at all, then you start with sitting in a chair without your hands and just standing up and down. And then eventually you lose the chair and you do the same movement. And that's exactly where you go. You take your bottom behind you, your knees stay over your ankles, and you're working a lot of strength in your legs. Why do we want to work strength in our legs? Because they are the largest muscles in our body, and they're the first to go. You don't want to be my age or 90 and fall over and break your hip because your strength and your balance is off. So you're going to work your legs there. And here we pick up 8 to 10 pound weights, and we squat with a bicep, or we squat sometimes with an overhead press. Right.
And whatever you want to do upper body, guess what's happening there? You're not only working your biceps or your shoulders, but you're also
triceps.
Or your triceps. Good point.
Or your back.
Or your back. So you can do overheads, back, tricep, bicep with these squats, and you're getting a full body workout. Legs, core, not to be diminished. Core is getting a lot of work out there. A lot of belly work. When we say core, we mean belly and back. So all of that's happening. And if you do like 8 to 10 of those.
Right, with a heavy weight.
With a heavy weight.
You'll feel it.
And you go right to the next thing. You might even work up a sweat. But you're going to do the right thing.
And I would just say for back and for core, start without the weights, make sure your body feels good, pick up small weights, progress, and make sure that you are really actively using your core. So, if you're body aware and can feel your core pull in and don't have back issues, I think you can start this on your own. But if you don't feel comfortable, then join us and then, learn how to core connect and use that and go up the scaffolding as far as level of difficulty.
Good point.
Okay, so you're going to flow from the squat with the weights to
a lunge. And have you ever been in a gym and where you see people doing the lunge walk?
Right.
Well, that's kind of cool, actually. But what you can run into there is coming out of position, especially if you're carrying weights. So what we do in here is sort of an isolated lunge. So we stay on the same, say my right foot is forward, and I'm in a lunge. I'm trying to kind of keep my shoulders over my hips, ears over, in that Pilates position. And while we're doing that lunge, meaning I bend my right knee, my hip and my knee come to the same level. Wow, guess what's happening there? Quadricep, hamstring, and the back leg, the one that's behind me, my left leg, huge stretch through that quadricep. That's the front of your leg. Huge work through the glute. So
feels good. You want to start the work with your back leg, right? So you get set up with your feet wide, bend the back knee to drop low, drive through the front foot to lift up, and add on
either a bicep curl, overhead press, tricep, again, this. But what you're doing is you're staying in that same position for 8 to 10 times. What you're going to do when you do this at home, or even when you're here in the studio, is decide, have I gone to the edge?
Sure.
Have I just... This 12th one, is that too much? Stop. That's where you stop and you just go back into your squat position. So you want to push your body, not to the point of injury for sure, but not to the point where you're overdoing it and then you set yourself up for injury. Because the minute you go to that place, your body naturally shifts and comes out of position.
Right.
And that's fine if you're doing it at the gym, but be careful if you're walking down that hallway. Just make sure you're making sure you're in position. It's always form over function every single time, form over function. So I think that's what is beautiful here. So
Love it. And, you know, taking those weights overhead, if you choose to do an overhead press, the minute you're going to take any amount of weight overhead, arms overhead, that's going to be a real cardiovascular effect. So the repetition and the weights is what's going to help you feel breathless. And it's not about going as fast as you can either. A reminder, that's not about it. Like slow and controlled to make sure that you're doing it right. But if you flow kind of without those breaks, you will get a little more breathless.
And it really helps in here too, because we have such great music, and the flow is a thing. The flow is a real thing, because the flow with the energy of the music and the energy of the people around you, movement at the same time, in that communal atmosphere, engages the energy with the people near you, and you are able to do more than you thought you could.
I think that's one of the largest takeaways, really, because we always like to relate this exercise and the strength that gives you physically and mentally, emotionally, spiritually, all the things, into the practicality and the functionality of your life outside of here. Because there's a why behind everything that we do. You've talked about the balance of the body, literal balance, standing on one foot, being able to do the moves you do throughout your day more easily. And there's also that mental awareness of, wow, I just accomplished this I didn't think I could. Let me see what I can accomplish outside. You give yourself a little more acceptance and a little more challenge, and a little more proof that you could handle the hard things. And we always talk about when we're stuck, when we're fearful, move through it. Well, what does that even mean? All right. So take something difficult in here that you're having trouble doing, and you do one more the next day, and then the next day. And that's physical, actual movement through. And I love that part of the workout.
And it really does give you confidence to do the same thing in your own life. It really does.
It does.
And it certainly has given you and I continue to be amazed at what not only we can do as a whole, not me, not you, but all of us, what we can do physically, but also what we're able to do emotionally and mentally. And it is all one thing. So, you know, moving your body just kind of gets those juices flowing.
Icing on the cake.
Icing.
That's the first two. So take us down to the floor. We did the squats, we did the lunges, and now we're down to plank. What are you going to do for number 3?
Mother Earth, gravity.
What?
Gaia. Thank you. We've got gravity on our team, right? That is your ultimate resistance. So we go to the floor and we hold a plank. And you can look online if you need to take a look at some of our plank options. We don't even call them modifications anymore. They're just options. You can be on your knees. You can be, you know, there's all sorts of ways. You can be at elbows, straight arms. But when we go to the floor and you are holding a plank, which is so well named because you are literally in a plank position, arms straight, legs behind you, and I'll talk about the more advanced position, you are having to pull your belly in, or else your body would be on the ground, which immediately starts working your core, which immediately strengthens your back, which immediately increases your heart rate. Your arms start to shake, especially the way we do it in here, and you look down, you make sure you're not hyperextending, and you feel the strength of your arms. You feel the strength of your inner thighs, because you understand at that point that if you don't pull your inner thighs together, that you can't keep that core engaged quite as much. So the plank that I did today is I had a jumping jack plank. I did 4 jumping jacks. If you're brand new, can't do that, don't worry about it. Maybe you just take your feet out wide and hold it there. But I did 4 jumping jacks, and then we rowed. A row looks like this. You just bring the elbow up like you're rowing, you know.
Row it like you're rowing, damn it.
Like, that's not really how you row, but that's what we call it. So you bring the elbow up, working your back, and then you could always extend and work your tricep back of the arm. But all the way up here is working your back. Meanwhile, I've got this other arm on the ground, which is just shaking and baking because it's keeping my body off the floor. Again, gravity. So we did.
And your hip bones are square instead of like rotating up. That's your core.
So we do 4 rows, 2 on each side, and then we do 4 jacks. 4 rows, 2 jacks. 4 rows, 2 jacks. Do that 8 to 10 times and talk to me about your cardiovascular health.
Right.
And if you can't do the jacks or you can't do the rows,
you'll feel it. Stillness.
Hold it. Hold it.
your heart rate will lift.
It will go up. And I mean, if you all want more information on that, honestly, HilliardStudioMethod.com. I'm going to just tell you to go straight to our streaming platforms and all that information we have online, because it tells you all about that. And so we were down on the ground. Okay, so now we've got both arms down, both feet down. I mean, body is really working full throttle. Why don't we just go to one side? That means if I go to my left hand and I open up, all the heat is going through my left shoulder, my left side obliques. What are obliques? They're your waist muscles. Both obliques, external, internal, all four are working like crazy to keep you off the ground. What does that do? That increases the strength. It shrinks your waist. That always gets them right. Shrinks your waist. And again, cardiovascular heat. So, and then we add the row. Here we go again.
Here's the row.
Hey, we're going to take that,
Better be
that
on YouTube.
8-pound weight in your hand, and you're going to bring it up. And maybe you're just going to do that for a while. And then you're going to go extend all the way up and work deeply into the shoulders. And then you're still maintaining the balance with that left hand. And at this point, if you're a sweater, you're sweating, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
And you can do it as a series. You can do the standing ones, the plank ones, and do it again 2 or 3 times until you get to the point where you're good. And again, start no weight, build up, make sure you're doing it right. The streaming is a no-brainer just because I think there's so many options. There's so many levels. There's so many categories by fitness level, equipment, and time. And it's, a very approachable, under $30 a month.
That's true.
So try it out for free
deal.
for 7 days,
Yeah.
and then join. And then if you're around, come in the studio and I'll put my hands on you and make sure you're doing it just right.
She's the best. And every teacher in here is going to be amazing. So, and by the way, I'm back on the floor on Wednesdays. So come see me at 9:30.
We got her.
Yeah, they
we
finally
needed
made me
some
work.
people to fluff up your skirt. And enough said, "Oh, we love when you teach." She's like, "Okay."
No, I really missed it. I really
know.
did. And
It's fun.
I teach a lot when we're out on the road or doing something.
Yeah, you do.
Some event or TV or something. And that's not really teaching when you're on TV. It's not.
Right.
But
Well, I
it's
like the
showing.
comment that Jennifer said to you. What'd she say? I'm the what and you're the what.
She told me, Jennifer is so sweet. She's just back in town, and she said, I was the soul of the workout, and you were the heart of it. And I thought, well, that's kind of
like
cool.
that.
Yeah, because
there is an energy that we provide differently, and there's always something to be said from your magic of creating this and living it for so long and birthing it, and me trying to carry that on. But to work out with you, you also say some crazy shit, so it's just entertaining as hell.
I just want you to know when I started, it was just me and like 7 of my clients. And I remember literally making it up on the floor in the class as we went. And the things I would say then were funny because they were coming into my head. I would say things like, why don't we try a row here and see what happens?
Yeah.
This workout has evolved so much from those early days, but it is still the same thing.
That's right.
It is still the same recipe. The recipe that I pulled together out of years of figuring out how to work this out really still is the same one, and it works.
I love that because I can totally make an analogy with the recipe. I mean, right? Like there's substitutions, all the same. There's flair and
you
spices.
don't always use rice. You use some orzo.
There you go. Yes. Way to go, babe. But it's so true. Yes.
If you know me, or really even if you know you, but me, I don't do anything unless it's fun at all.
The truth.
I really don't. My mother did call me, rightly so, a hedonist, I suppose, when I was young.
Yeah, that tracks.
And it's fun. And so what we're doing in here when I was making the workout up in the first place and creating this recipe that now can be all kinds of things, it was fun. And that's the community that was around me. We laughed, we struggled, we supported. But at the end of the day, we had great music. We were having a good time, and everybody walked out of here with a smile on their face, and they still do. Mm-hmm. It's fun. Mm-hmm. It's play. Thank you, Kristen. That was a really good point.
And that is a really good point. If you're doing something that doesn't make you feel good in some way, shape, or form, then you might need to find another venue, another avenue, because life is short, and we've got a lot of stress in it, and there's so much in our life that keeps us busy or that we have to do or
We
on the
don't have to
to-do
do all
list.
that. I say we stop doing all this stuff. I have a new thought. It's not a new thought. I've always thought this.
hear it.
I have a thought that I want to share with you guys. How about we just have some fun? Plenty of people are taking a lot of things really seriously. There's a lot of serious things going on in the world right now. We know that's happening. Let's remember what we knew best when we were younger, when we were smarter, when we were more in tune with who we were, more in tune with our bodies. We didn't just walk out of the house with our head down. We ran out of the house screaming and laughing and talking to our friends. It's time to play. I mean, you cannot destroy anybody that has an attitude of joy and laughter and play. You can try, but it's not going to happen. That's what I admire about my younger self. I admire about kids. I love watching kids. And then I remember I can still do that.
Right.
That's part of the fun. You don't have to go on this serious walk down this, get your steps in. How about you just go walk around? You see a dog, you mess with a dog, and then maybe you sprint across the field. You know, I don't know. Why don't you just try something different, but something that lightens your own mood? And we try to do it in here. And then walk out and be creative with it.
Go dance.
Go dance.
Go
oh my
shake a booty.
gosh. There's actual research on that.
That's for sure.
Dance now. That's the deal. I mean, you don't have to be a good dancer. You can just know to
just
dance.
in your kitchen, turn on the music in your car.
Yeah.
Well, like both hands on the wheel, but
Yeah. Yeah.
You know.
I know.
All
So
right,
anyway.
did we cover top to bottom cardiovascular?
Yeah, I mean, I hope so. I think the takeaways here are we are pushing ourselves awfully hard. And if you don't like to run, then perhaps you can reconsider that. I do not run personally. Also, I feel like I can get injured a little bit running. I haven't run in a long time. Is it fun? If it's fun, if you enjoy it, if your body seems to react to it, do it. If you're running to lose weight, you're not. I can tell you that. You're not losing weight. You're raising your cortisol levels and a few other levels that I can't speak about because I'm not an expert on all those things. But where you want to lose weight is through resistance training. It's through movement of any type. It doesn't have to be, I got to get my heart rate up here and I can't talk. Be able to talk. Be able to laugh. Be able to tell a joke. But be able to resist. Be able to pick up anything at any age. I mean, as long as I can pick you up, I think I'm good, right?
It's getting harder every
year. The
year.
other day she goes, how's my grip strength? I'm like, are you kidding me? I could take your neck to the, whatever. Yeah. That is also an indication of age. So you always want to have strength in your hands, your body. Do what you enjoy doing. That's why we love this workout.
Right.
So cardiovascular work, it happens right here. We get your heart rate up to a level where you are working that heart muscle just to the place that it needs to work to stay healthy. Lots of blood circulation, lots of good things. You're also getting this bonus called bone density, which you're not going to get when you're running the pavement. You're going to tear it down. So we're going to give you that here too. And what else am I not saying about cardiovascular
You
work?
said it all.
I mean, it's
You got it.
It's important. Our
important.
hearts are important. Our bodies are important. We are important. So let's just take care of ourselves and have a blast doing it. And then you'll get to live as long as me, except you'll live longer. I'm going to live longer. I'll be around, so we'll have fun together.
We'll hang out.
I'll be at your kids' weddings. Yeah.
Cool. Do you want to be invited to everybody's kids' wedding?
Yeah, could I be, please? I love
You got to
weddings.
give a gift.
I'll bring the gift. I'm okay with that.
great.
I just love a good wedding. Celebration of love.
But we're not married.
Well, not yet.
Let's sign off before we go there.
Not yet. We've been talking about that lately too. I think that's
Lord
a
have
whole
mercy.
nother new podcast.
That's a different episode.
Yeah.
Bye.
Are we really done?
No, I was just kind of, I mean, we're done, but I was like, ooh, we'll
Yeah.
just not talk about that right
Yeah.
now.
Okay. Well, we might do
You
that.
look good. You're excited.
I am excited.
It's because you talked about the workout.
It's because I'm talking about a wedding. All right.
Love you.
Love you too. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to us today, wherever you get your podcasts. And remember, you can now find our podcast on YouTube.
Yeah. If you liked it, please share, rate, and review. We love 5 stars. And we hope you'll work out with us online or in studio at HilliardStudioMethod.com.